Yeah. Welcome to How Can She Snap? This is the Marvel SNAP podcast dedicated to the filthy casual. I'm the kid, one half of the Super Snap Rose, here with my brother from the same mother, the one and only Mr.
It's no big deal, baby.
Oh yeah, we got a nice little episode today. We got the Man Thing who came out. Really not taking the meta too much by storm, but he's out there. He's gruesome looking. He's fearsome looking. We're going to talk about, a little bit of the spotlights, if you should be spending your hard-earned tokens on this. We're going to talk about the pretty spicy new OTA patch that came out today. A little bit more involved than the last couple. And then we're going to get into a little Series 4 tier list. The little bads.
The small bads, yep.
The small bads. And you'll get our thoughts on those. And let's get it. The kid, Mr. No Big Deal. What's going on, my bro?
What's up? Good? What's good, kid? How you doing?
How has your week in Marvel Snap been?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Did a little infinite push at last weekend.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get there as fast as the kid with the Shuri deck, but I was a little bit behind. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, man. How about you?
Yeah, I just like playing the OP decks that they like to nerf afterwards.
Hey, we get it. We get it while it's good.
That's it.
In both of our defense. I mean, I played a little bit of Shuri and Conquest after. It's not. Neither of us were playing a Sauron deck before like this last couple weeks, anyway, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I just like to switch it up. I like to do different things. It's like I don't try and just play only OP stuff. I play stuff for a while, then I played the Monkey Dump with Elsa. That's fun. I still played some Elsa stuff. Actually, there's been kind of a not really. I mean, don't call it a comeback, but Thanos has been coming back a little bit.
Yeah, I lost to it in a Conquest actually.
There you go. There's been some of the really really high level players have been winning tournaments with Thanos. And so, at the very high level, actually, they're just really good. But, for the scrubs like us, it's still, a lot more difficult to play. Here's one of the decks. They've been using Elsa for this new push here. I'll say one of these decks. There's Elsa, Psylocke, Jeff, Mobius, Iron Lad, Blue Marvel, Devil Dinosaur, Professor X, Vision, Leader, Alioth, and Thanos. Some people are, ditching the Leader. Leader's kind of just more for tournaments, I think they said. They said you could put any of their 5-drop like the Claw or something like that. But yeah, this is kind of like the same as just like the, Thanos, the W Thanos list where you kind of try and scam out a 5-drop early, lock down a lane with Prof X, and then you have your other cards, and I actually played a little bit of it, and it felt all right. Still really missed that draw on the Soulstone.
Yeah.
I wish they would, but it wasn't too bad. I was actually winning games. I wasn't getting crushed by it. And it didn't have too much. I really didn't like Elsa. You think she would be unreal in this deck? I mean, she felt good when she popped off, but like there's a few times that I won and I didn't really need her, and I felt like this deck was pretty well rounded and it was good. It felt good actually.
Mostly for Jeff and Vision, right? Like those are the main things you want to hit with that Elsa. Then you get a 6 or an 11 mover, so it's pretty nice. Kind of. Then if you don't scam out a Professor X, you could still, kind of pop it on turn 5, right?
Well, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to get Prof X, the extra 3 power. I did that a couple times. Like, it doesn't have, you just fill up one of the lanes with stones.
Yeah, you'd be a 5/6,
Yeah, Elsa just has to be on the board somewhere, Doesn't have to be that same lane. So it's like, he just gets an extra 3 power, and it's just that much better.
So the one I played against wasn't running Leader, but all these other cards were in it for sure. I wonder if the Alioth nerf hurt kind of kills this deck. Like I feel like it affects it quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't know. We'll talk about that in the OTAs. I don't know. We'll see. I want to play with it, but I don't think so. But maybe. Who knows? That's really a to be determined. It really depends on the meta, right? Like if people play a lot more Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom now beats Alioth. Captain Marvel. Again, I don't want to get into that. We'll talk
Mhm.
about that in the OTAs.
Mhm.
Um, Also, what I've been playing, Revis, put out a lockjaw, so I won a silver conquest, basically like the only conquest I played.
Mhm.
Um, I played a gold conquest as well, or only like one round of a gold conquest with Shuri
Mhm.
and won that. But I've won a silver with this guy, Lockjaw Wasp, Mobius, Lockjaw Thor, Jubilee, Jane Foster, Vision, Alioth, Doctor Doom, Odin, Chavez, and Magneto.
Oh, this is
Dude,
like a
Magneto,
classic. This is a classic list right here.
classic. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got Infinity. I think he got Infinity Border with this at the end of last season.
Mhm.
I forget what he had. He had something instead of Alioth. I can't remember what it was, but
Mhm.
maybe Infinite or something. I don't remember.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is it was pretty fun. I love playing Lockjaw. Lockjaw is just, the high roll is always so fun.
Mhm.
It's just great. Mobius is so good in this because there's a few times where like the peak happened, and then so like my Wasp was one power, and then I had Mobius, and I just played him, and it's like they all you can still cycle them.
Mhm.
Dream Dimension, Wasp stays 0, things stay 5. You can still play your Jane Foster on 5. It's awesome. So Mobius is like a nice addition in Lockjaw, and he's felt pretty good and still high rolly,
Mhm.
which is always great.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a fun deck. Classic Lockjaw deck right
yeah.
there.
I played a little bit
Jane
of
Jaw.
yeah, I played a little bit of I saw there was like a push for, clog decks. I think Dara made a video.
Mhm.
My dogs are going crazy. It's my little dog's birthday today. Um, Dara made a video and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Clog, I haven't played Clog in so long." So I played a little bit of little bit of Clog list for,
No
a
Man
day or
Thing.
so. Yeah, well, this is before. I didn't play it after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then when Man Thing came out, I'm like, you know what? I'm just
Mhm.
gonna put him in a Thanos deck. I made this Manos deck and played it for a
Manos.
few played it for a few games. It's definitely not optimized. I'm sure I could do a lot more. But I just put in like Luke Cage, Elsa. There's still Psylocke, Jeff, Mobius, Man Thing,
Mhm.
Lad, Blue Marvel, Professor X, Vision, Eliath, Thanos. This deck was fun. I won a few games with this deck. It was a good time. It's just Luke Cage is just everywhere right now.
Mhm.
Luke Cage is everywhere, so
As
it's
he should
kind of
be.
hard.
He's
Yeah,
protecting the neighborhood.
he is protecting the
He's protecting
neighborhood.
Harlem.
Yeah, so it's hard for Man Thing to get a lot of value. I think like all these cars that release, probably in like a month or a week, they'll be a lot better than they are on release. But I played with him a bit, and he's fun. He's got a cool animation. He spits on the people. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, he looks hilarious for sure.
It's
Yeah.
always fun. Did you pick him up?
I haven't picked him up. I played a Deadpool Nimrod deck to push to infinite.
Yeah.
So and then I've just been just abusing Luke Cage since this card came out. So yeah,
With the
I mean I'm not against spending the 3K tokens on him. I do think it seems like a good card. Like I don't think it's a bad card by any means. I think the effect seems super powerful. There's no Shang-Chi like threshold. Like he puts out like Shang-Chi level power without being able to get Shang-Chi, but there's other counters like Luke Cage, right? So I know the
Yeah.
first one Cozy uploaded, I think, was Man Thing plus Rogue. So I guess that's one way to go about playing them. But rather than play all these games, I think my plan for now, tentatively, is to just wait for the December cash with Firestar and just
Yeah.
rip 4 copies of that, and then I'll get my Man Thing in that one.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
Hmm.
Is he a must-have? No, I don't. Right
Hmm.
now, I don't think so. Will he be good in 2 weeks? Who knows? Maybe.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's pretty good. I think he'd be good with, if Clog starts getting and there's a lot of Luke Cages, but they don't always draw their Luke Cage. So
Yeah.
and his payoff, he's a 4/5. He's not like horrible if they have a Luke Cage,
Yeah, for sure.
and he's
Yeah.
he's pretty good with all like the Elsa stuff going on,
Yeah, if
right?
you're not
Everyone's trying to
basing
fill
your
lanes.
whole list on toxic, right? Like if you're playing the Manos,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
lose if they have Luke Cage on the Manos deck, like it's nice if they don't have it. You might even just play Iron Lad, he procs Man Thing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna also play Man Thing in that play. Maybe just play something else on 5 and
Yeah.
whatever, right? So yeah, just it seems like a good card, but yeah, I mean, the problem is there's no answer to turn 6 Luke Cage. That's the big one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's an answer to Luke Cage on the board. Their weight like Rogue, type of stuff. Maybe Echo, right? Like Echo in the Man Thing lane, maybe. I don't know. But there's like, if they just wait till turn 6, play Luke Cage, like you can't do anything. So as the
Yeah, and
Man
Luke
Thing
Cage
player,
affects the whole board, not just the lane, right? So they could
yeah.
just, even if you do have an echo down, you just played in another lane.
Yeah, you'd have to clog the other lanes. You play an echo, like yeah, that's what I mean. It's just really hard. Like this guy's a 2-2. It's not like a huge commitment. So, you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I won a few games like when I was playing my stupid Luke Cage Thanos deck, just literally, or the Man Thing Luke Thanos deck, just literally saving him for turn 6 because it was just Man Thing just came out, everyone was playing him,
hmm
and then I just they think they win a lane, and you're like, nope,
yeah,
here's Luke Cage, protect the neighborhood.
yeah. That's the thing too. Sometimes it's just better to hold them anyway, even if you're not scared of the counter. Just for surprise cubes at the end.
Yeah, 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 it's
Snap and
true.
go.
It's great. It's
Mhm.
great. Um, yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty. How do you feel? How do you like the meta so far?
I think it's a tricky meta, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like it, but I think it's a little bit tricky. Like, I think Shuri Sauron might be the best deck.
Dude, it's wild. It's wild how good it is, I think.
Yeah. It just feels good all the time. Like I've played some little movers. Yeah, the Jane dump with the monkey and the Elsa. Um, I've played a lot of the other. Oh, I played some Sarah Control, which is pretty good, right? Because you can get Mobius, Luke Cage, and Shadow King all in there, which are all great
Yeah.
in this meta, and they're very easy to
Yeah.
play in a Sarah Control deck. But God, I mean, the Shuri Sauron deck, just even if they have some counter to one of your pieces, this, what it is, that Ebony Maw feels crazy in that.
Mhm.
Like it's just a 1/7. Like you're just throwing bombs. You throw 1/7 over here. Typhoid's up 10. Like throw her over there. Like who cares if they mess up my Shuri combo? Like here, Red Skull, a canceled out Red Skull is just like crazy. Like just a naked like 5/14. Like I don't even
Yeah.
need Shuri. Like it's fine. Here, boom. And then I'll go like
It's
Taskmaster, Ebony Maul, or like
yeah.
Taskmaster Zero. It's still sick. You just
It's
kind of
wild.
always like putting out a respectable board, and then sometimes you're putting out a absurdly ridiculous board. Like it's not even like there's no ceiling either. It's not like a mid-range deck. It plays like it's either mid-range or it high rolls. There's no like low
Yeah.
roll.
Yeah. Well, the good thing, like, especially if you get Sauron down, like, I think
Mhm,
almost always you snap with Sauron down
mhm,
because, like, even if you like, you build your lanes in a way where, like, maybe you have Zero out at front or like Jaff or something, in the
mhm,
beginning, you play Sauron down, even if you Shuri, Red Skull, Taskmaster, and they Shang-Chi one of them,
mhm,
your turn, like, your one lane's gonna be a 28 power with the Red Skull. Then you Taskmaster that 28 power. Almost certainly you're gonna have priority. So
mhm.
almost certainly you're gonna get the Taskmaster off.
Yeah.
If they Shang-Chi your Red Skull, you
Mhm.
could just play like you have, like you just said, you have Ebony Maw. Like you're playing Taskmaster Ebony Maw. So you
Yeah.
play Taskmaster one lane, Ebony Maw in the third lane that you've already put your early stuff on, like your
Yeah.
Mobius or your Jeff or something.
You
And then you have your Red
Sauron
Skull
3
lane,
power. Yeah. Mhm,
and so they're wasting a Shang-Chi in your one lane, so they win the Red Skull lane, but then you have so much reach in the other lanes, like, it's crazy.
yeah.
Like, a 10 or 12 wins the 3rd lane a lot of the time,
Mhm,
and you have, like, a 28 and 28 in the other 2, and it's like, Jesus. It's
yeah.
if that doesn't happen every game, but it's like, it happens enough where it's, like, crazy.
Yeah, what they have to do to beat you is just like they can do it, but it just 80% of the time, like they don't. It's
Yeah.
just like crazy. Like you just win most of the time. Like they would
Yeah.
have to like pass priority and then Shadow King or Shang-Chi you on turn 5. Like that's the counterplay, right? Uh
Yeah.
that's very hard to do. Like, it's such a, and actually a lot of people are just not playing Shang-Chi right now too. That's another thing,
I
right?
know.
So if okay, they taskmaster you, you still have a 14 red skull. Like,
Yeah.
all right.
But,
And
yeah, they
you
have the pass priority, and,
or
yeah, they
sorry,
have to
not
do it.
task, Shadow King, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy. And so, yeah, even like in this list, like I run Alioth, and so
mhm,
it's like he's just ridiculous as a finisher as well.
mhm.
It's almost like you don't need to even draw Taskmaster a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You just play this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing
Yeah.
with him though is you kind of got to be careful because like he's 6 energy, right?
Hmm.
So like you can't play that Ebony Maw or anything else. So it's like
Hmm.
he's kind of specific.
Yeah, but he is nice as a like kind of alternate win condition in this deck too.
He really is. And even Typhoid Mary's just 410, like it's unreal.
Yeah, she's sick. She's sick in
She's
this deck
just
only.
she's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. So yeah, this deck is just has it all basically, I think.
Hmm.
And it's also the thing too is like the problem with it, and I don't know if it's a problem, like, but it's you don't really have to think too much.
Yeah.
It's like pretty linear. I mean, um, you just play the cards and they kind of work.
Yeah, I
I
think I
feel
played like 3 or 4 conquests with it, and I was like, "All right, I think I'm good." Like, I'm probably not
yeah,
gonna play it again. Like, yeah, I had my fun.
I
Like,
yeah,
I
I
had
find
fun, but
myself
I don't wanna, like, keep playing it. I don't yeah, like you said, I don't feel like
yeah.
I'm, like, learning anything, you know? Like
Yeah, because it
yeah.
kinda gets brainless, and I find, like, a lot of times, like, this like, I probably play really suboptimally,
Mhm,
where, like, I'll have Red Skull in my hand, but I just Shuri the Vision,
mhm.
like, because I just want to move something around and just I wanna do some thinking and some mind games. Because 'cause I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't wanna just be like
Vision's the non-brainless play in this deck, right? Vision, you
like, I
actually
do that.
you're playing Marvel Snap with Vision, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's some times where, like, I have both of them, like, a lot of
Mhm,
times, actually, and I'm
mhm.
like, "I'm just gonna do Vision."
Yeah.
I'm like, 16's enough, and I just wanna move them around, like, I just
Yeah.
wanna,
Yeah,
have some of the
let's
mind
have
games
some
there.
fun, see if they can, beat the Vision,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Um,
I
and
think I
then
was
yeah,
playing
sometimes
Elsa. I think I was playing Elsa in my list. I don't remember. Uh,
oh,
yeah, I
nice.
think I played Elsa in this deck. It was pretty interesting instead
I
of
was gonna say,
Mobius,
I don't know if I don't know if I would like Elsa on this
or
list
maybe
because
not.
like,
I
I
don't.
feel like
Maybe
I
I.
don't fill lanes at all.
Yeah, yeah. I just play on one lane. Oh
Yeah, but I
no,
mean
no, I wasn't playing Elsa in this list. I'm sorry.
okay.
I was playing Luke Cage instead.
Yeah, Luke Cage isn't bad.
Yeah,
Um, but even, like, the reason why I don't care about Luke Cage in this deck is,
mhm.
like, okay, you're gonna afflict me? Alright, my red skull is 28, like, what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah. True.
Drop him by 2, 3? Like, who
Mhm.
cares?
Yeah.
You're gonna drop your abomination for 9 power? Cute.
Hmm.
For 3 energy? Who cares? Like,
Yeah. Fair.
this deck doesn't care about that, it's just hilarious.
Hmm.
Like, sometimes I'll just play a naked Typhoid Mary, and it just doesn't matter
Hmm.
because there's so much power.
Well, I was playing Lizard too, so I was playing Lizard
Oh,
to
yeah.
with the Luke Cage, and yeah, yeah, it works with Typhoid as well, and yeah.
I mean, this list is very greedy. My
Mhm,
last one, like, this one has no like, this says at the top, like, no enchant like, I had
mhm,
Enchantress before. I usually like having Enchantress and Lizard in here
mhm,
because if you don't draw, the Sauron, the Enchantress can take out the Red Skull, the Typhoid, the Lizard if you're drawing Lizard, so it's kinda nice as a backup plan.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of the best decks for sure. And I actually played a little bit of Loki because I didn't really play too much last season.
Yeah, I think he's
Um,
still a pretty strong deck, like,
yeah,
still a top deck, I would say.
yeah, I
I
think
don't think
so.
he's
Like I,
the top deck, but I think he's definitely up amongst them,
yeah, like I use KM Best's list here, which I'll,
Mhm,
I'll say what it is. And I honestly like, I don't remember. I didn't play too much, like maybe 10 games, but I don't really remember losing. I
mhm,
probably did like a couple. Like it was pretty high win rate.
mhm,
It's Kitty Pride, Maria Hill, Snowguard, Angela, Collector, Elsa, Luke Cage, Jeff, Mobius, Cosmo, Loki, America Chavez. Actually, I think he played Mirage instead of Cosmo, but I
mhm,
wanted a little bit of counterplay, so I
mhm.
put Cosmo in there. And this is just it just does Loki things, just
At
works.
the buff with Maria Hill.
Yeah, exactly. You
I
can get two
mean,
drop. Sometimes extra two drop. You don't have a two drop.
yeah, like, you would generally play Agent 13 in that spot, so Maria Hill's kinda just a better version of A Agent 13 now.
I like Maria Hill
Mhm,
more than Agent 13 for consistency. For fun, Agent 13 is better. But I mean, there's really not too many two drops that you're upset about getting,
I think Maria
you
Hill's
know?
just a better card now, like
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
it's just a straight up better card. Not even like even if 2 drop like wasn't as stacked as it is because it is stacked. It
Yeah,
just the fact that it automatically curves you for the next turn,
yeah,
very reliably. So it's gonna add a level of consistency to your deck. Like sometimes you don't draw a 2 drop, or you don't have some you high roll like you draw all your high stuff early
yeah.
on, and Maria Hill just always gives you something to play on turn 2, no matter what. So
Yeah, I think she's interesting, even like an interesting maybe like tech or something in surfer decks because
Mhm.
like you could play her on 4, right?
Yeah,
And then you have a 2-drop for turn 5 if you have nothing.
yeah,
So you play like a 3-drop and then her, and then a 3-drop and then a 3-drop on turn 5, plus the 2-drop that she has if you don't have anything else.
yeah, yeah.
So it curves
4
out nice for like
and turn 1 as well, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If like I'm just saying like it just feels nicely. It feels like in surfer decks. Not that I
Yeah, a
play
lot
that
of
many
surfer
surfer
decks don't
decks,
even
so
run like anything for turn 1, so, like,
yeah.
yeah, it's kinda nice. I agree with that.
It would be cool for her, but
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
I don't know. That's pretty sweet. I mean, I kind of like the meta so far. What do you feel? How did you feel before today, um, about Alioth? What were your thoughts on him?
I mean, we've talked
Because
about it for 2 or 3 pods now. I
yeah,
mean, even pre-release, I thought he was gonna be kinda broken.
well, the last week, I mean, like the last week, is it because the only reason why I'm asking is because
Mhm.
last week I remember you asking me, "Hey, are people getting mad on and stuff?" And like
Yeah.
on Twitter, last week has
Mhm.
been outrage with this card. I've
Uh,
seen
yeah.
over the last because the last week you asked me, and I'm like, no, not really. And then
Mhm.
I paid a lot more attention this week, and I was like, man, people are fucking pissed about this
Yeah.
card,
I've
dude.
never been mad about
How
it, but
many people
I've
so
always
mad?
kinda leaned on the side of, like, it's one of the best cards in the game. I don't know,
Yeah,
I've always thought since release it's one of the, like, is maybe the best 6 drop in the whole game. Like, I know there's other strong contenders, but the impact on the game is just crazy with this card. Um, I don't know if I would have nerfed it this soon, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, how I feel about it, I just think really, really, really strong card. Before this week, if we made a top 10 list, it would be on my top 10 list, but it
yeah,
wouldn't be number one.
no, yeah,
So I don't think it was the best card in the game.
yeah.
And probably not even top three, to be honest.
I think it's a really good card. I
Yeah.
never, obviously I've lost games to it, and it just
Mhm.
like whatever you lose games. I've won a lot of games with it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess I don't really get too mad at this game.
Mhm.
So it takes a lot to really bother me unless I just get horrible RNG with locations. Like, if I draw like all 5 rocks in Subterranea, then that's what pisses me off in this game, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like cards don't really like Galactus when like every other game was Galactus, like even though I like playing Galactus,
Yeah.
that was really like I understand. I'm like, okay, this is kind of it's that much, it's bad.
Mhm.
He never really bothered me too much. I don't know, but I can see, like, I can understand why he's a piss off card.
Yeah.
Because like you feel like you don't have a chance. Because like your cards don't even get revealed, and you're just like, oh, okay, I just like cool, bro. It's like a feels bad card. Like I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think he's like better or his your win rate's higher than if you played like I almost feel like if you played him or Doctor Doom on turn 6, like
Mhm.
you probably win the same amount of games.
Probably.
He just feels worse to lose to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it probably is similar. I think those are similar power level cards too. I mean, those are probably the two best of 6 drops, right?
Yeah.
So, pre
That's
nerf.
kinda like
Yeah.
and I could be wrong, it's just, like, how
Mhm.
I feel, I'm just saying, whatever, I'm just throwing my
Yeah,
feelings out
I've
there.
definitely I've played the card a lot, and I've played against the card a lot, and I've never felt bad playing against it either. Um, I don't know, maybe people get tilted if they don't see it coming. Maybe that's it. If you get surprised by it, or
Yeah.
like, because then it's super tilting. But I think like generally you're going to be playing around it, right? And I that's why I don't feel bad playing against it, because it's like, the whole turns 1 through 5 are like a puzzle to not get Elias. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so you just have to be able to output enough power in 2 lanes where, an extra 5, they can't get over with 5. And you're good. If you're winning by 5 in 2 lanes, Elias is a completely useless card, pre nerf, obviously.
yeah,
But so you can kind of work towards that. And 5 power is not that much power to be playing on 6. I'm not saying the card is bad by any means. Like I said,
no,
played the
no,
shit out of it myself too. uh but there's a lot of ways to play around it before they nerfed it. And it like, there were not a lot of ways to play around pre-nerf Arrow, and there were not a lot of ways to play around pre-nerf Leader, for example, or
yeah,
pre-nerf Galactus. You either got the counter or you don't. So with cards like Galactus, Arrow, and Leader, it to me felt bad to play against. This
Yeah.
card didn't feel bad for me to play against, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like I guess you're looking at it as you're consciously aware of setting up your board the entire game to like
Yeah.
not get screwed, Which this card plays like it's just because I think we haven't since pre-nerf Arrow, we
Hmm.
haven't had meta at all where
Hmm.
having priority really matters that I can remember.
Yeah, but even in the pre-nerf Arrow, right? Sometimes like there's just nothing you can do about it. Like it pulls everything you play, and it's just that is it. You're winning 2 lanes, the game is over. Like you
Well,
know,
if you had priority, then your arrow would pull their arrow, so it wouldn't
y-
matter. So you would
yeah.
win.
So yeah, it's
The
like you have
priority
that.
was better.
But if you have 2 lanes, you have prio, right? And it's just the game's just over, and that's it. Like even with prio, you could still lose with Elias sometimes. Like
That card was
you have
great.
cards like Jeff. You have cards like
Yeah,
Doctor Doom, that can kind of mess around with this Eliath stuff, right? So they might be playing Eliath into a lane that's like just barely winning, right? Like Eliath 5 power just barely puts it over the top, and then it kills whatever, right? You move like
yeah,
play a Doctor Doom somewhere else. You could beat the Eliath. Arrow, like I don't know, I feel like Arrow just always won. Like leader was like even more ridiculous. So uh
yeah. I
yeah.
didn't play a lot. I didn't play Snap during the leader stuff, which
Mhm.
is good, I guess.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
we
have
know
the
what it
game.
did though. Like,
Yeah, that was wild. That was
it
wild
was just
stuff.
GG, like.
Yeah, that seemed like it'd be so wild. There were no OTAs back then. That would have just
Mhm.
been bad.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
you
and I
probably
think
just had to have the card back then.
I
Yeah.
think also too, this card is why we're seeing a lot more of like Vision, Jeff. Well, I mean, Jeff's always been around, but a lot more Vision, a lot more Nightcrawler, because like you can move, like you said, you can move those cards around, and like if you move it into the Goliath lane, like you're not losing that.
Yeah, Vision like
He
kind of
doesn't
owns this
kill.
card, yeah.
Yeah, so like because like we haven't seen too much Vision before him, right? Like I
Yeah.
mean, a little bit when he got buffed, but not
Mhm.
this much. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we'll talk about his nerf, but like I
Mhm.
don't know. It seems like we're kind of on the same page where we weren't really that pissed about it.
Mhm.
But I can see like not having your cards revealed is just like a feels bad loss
Yeah,
rather than like because you want to at least show that you lost. Not like
for
just
sure.
obliterate everything.
Yeah, similar to like Galactus, right? It's like, I wanted to play 3 lanes. I wanted to play Marvel Snap, but now I got to play this bullshit solitaire game that you're playing. So it's
Yeah,
the same similar feeling, right? So yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we're talking about life. Let's slide into these OTAs here.
Yeah.
And talk about the OTAs that happened today.
Mhm.
Let me pull this crap up
Yeah, I mean, we can even
because
start.
there's
Okay,
some
yeah, we got
decent
Forge. Yeah,
OTAs.
Forge first. Yeah, I won't jump the gun then.
Yeah, we'll talk about Forge. I think
The
he's in
buff
there.
boy, the
The
big buff
buff
boy,
boy.
is coming in.
Yeah, so they said, "Welcome back. Last week's patch focused on cleaning up a few small orders of business for the game. OTAs are our primary tool for adjusting the balance of the live metagame.
Mhm.
This is because we can create an OTA change in about a week, while patch changes need to be made over a month in advance, as they require a series of authorizations, blah, blah, blah." Basically, they're
Mhm.
just saying, like, listen, the patch was shit last week because we had to, we did it like a month and a half ago. So, like, chill, bros. So I think they're just saying, that's what they're basically saying here.
It's a
Let's get
weird
into the
excuse
actual
to be
changes.
to be nerfing Cable for a second time. It's a weird excuse to be making
Yeah.
to nerf Cable again for no reason.
We did it a month ago. That's why.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Forge, the first one. He was a 2-1 and gave the next card you play +3. His new change is wouldn't really call it a nerf, just a change. He's a 1-1 instead of a 2-1, and he gives the next card you play +2 power. No big deal, good sir. What do you think?
I mean, I do think it's a nerf overall, but
Hmm.
last time we did a top 10 list, I actually had Forge in there. It was my spicy pick, but uh, I did think he was a top 10 card. Absorbing Brood was running rampant at the time,
Yeah.
and just there's so many applications. I think the buff. Because once you buff a card, like, I mean, back then, Kitty Pride was not a 0 power. So, you buff a card that can get out of control, and then you play Shuri on that card or something like that. Deadpool, now we have Elsa. And some of these cards can get really out of hand after you buff them. Like you can then buff them again, you can double them
Yeah.
up, and you can do some crazy stuff. So I think the actual buff part is the main strength of the card. And so nerfing that, I think, is an overall nerf. But
Yeah.
in niche kind of deck situations, he might be a little bit better. It could, just because, just having him as a one drop, you could play him on curve. Like I was messaging you earlier today, and this Phoenix Force deck, the anti Loki deck, as the kids call it,
Yeah.
you could play Forge on 1, multiple man on 2 now, and then you play,
Yeah.
say, Deathlock on 3, and into Phoenix Force on 4, right? And that's kind of like a insane line. You've got 10 10 10 multiple mans, Ghost Spider the next turn or something, and you're just popping
Yeah.
off, right? So something like that. I mean, that was already a pretty strong deck. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think there's going to be some interesting implications like that. You brought up some Psylocke ones that, I think that it'll have some interesting applications, but overall nerf, and I'm not like mad about it either. I think this card was crazy strong. So I'm
Yeah, I
happy.
think this is a good change. I think, yeah, overall, like his power level is definitely weaker, like
Mhm.
power level, obviously, because he only
Mhm.
gives +2. But I think he's way more versatile now as a one drop.
Yes.
Like now, it's like as a 1/1, like you don't care if he dies. Like you play him in your Deadpool deck, like
Mhm.
he's just easier to pair with Carnage, and just like get eaten by Carnage. You don't care. He's a one drop.
Mhm.
He slots nice in with Deadpool,
Mhm.
just curve wise.
Yeah, curve's better. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it brings down like the brood shenanigans, so you're not getting such ridiculous powers on that like lane.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, you could play him with like like I was saying, like Lady Deathstrike. I think Hoagland was doing like Lady Deathstrike stuff with Forge, but now you could do like Psylocke Forge on 3, and then Lady Deathstrike is a 5/6 on 4,
Yeah,
which is
that's
pretty,
crazy.
which
Yeah.
is pretty wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, just putting him in a bunch of different decks and just seeing what happens could be kind of cool for him. They
Mhm.
even say here like the Mr. Sinister, like play him on 1, Mr. Sinister on 2
Yeah.
is a pretty good time. So he could just like sneak in, just to fill curve now as a one drop, and do some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a very interesting change, because you think about it, like you said, there's so many good two drops in the game, but if you just compare him to other one drops, like he's better than a lot of them. Like,
Yeah,
this is like a good one drop right here.
and
So
then bounce, like
yeah,
bounce too. You can beast and falcon him. I think they even say that in this
this has
too.
got to be like a staple in
Yeah,
bounce. Yeah, this is like one of Bounce's best cards now, right? So
yeah,
yeah, you have to
Shadow.
get some Hawkeye Forge going. Just get it,
Yeah,
get a nice 112 Hawkeye.
yes. Shadow King stonks.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But
Like it's
yeah,
a
so I like this change. Anytime there's like one drops that kind of do cool things and they could just be slotted in a bunch of different decks, I think is a good time.
Yeah, if this was like not a really good card, like what I thought was one of the strongest cards in the game, I would not like this change. But like, when they put Collector to 2-0, like stuff like that, it's like Collector was already like, didn't need that nerf. But I'm
Yeah,
happy with this. It's like a cool change. It's interesting. It's going to change a lot of stuff, and it nerfs the top end of what the meta decks are doing, like, the Absorbing Brood, like kind of BS that's going on. So that's a couple hits now that deck's taken, because they took one
yeah,
off of Absorbing Man, and now they took one off of Forge. So that
yeah,
deck, that deck's taking some serious hits now.
yeah. That deck won a tournament recently. I think that's probably why.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Glenn was watching that tournament. Maybe he was betting on like whoever that guy played in the grand finals.
yeah, exactly. That's great. But yeah, I think it's a good change.
Mhm.
Alioth, here we go, the big
Yeah.
one. 6'5", now he's a 6'3". They just cut down 2 power. I guess he's like, they what they say? His overall play rate is a touch high due to how easily it slots into many decks. 5 power has proven to be a tough breakpoint for some potential countermeasures like a Doombot. So this makes him easier to catch, they said. So yeah, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, he has the same power as Jeff now, and like that's a big deal. So, Jeff moves in there, your Alliance might be having problems now. So, yeah, this is a massive nerf. I think. I still think it's a playable card. I don't think it's like a dead card. But I think he's gonna be. A lot of people were just put Alioth in whatever. I got one slot. I want to play 6 drop, play Alioth, and I think now he's going to be in decks that he makes sense. like lockdown type of decks and stuff like that are still going to play him. But I think all
Yeah.
the other decks will probably cut him for something else.
Yeah.
Mm,
We'll see, I guess, because yeah, now
mm,
Doombots beat him, right?
mm,
Captain Marvel is a 4/4, will beat him.
yeah.
Jeff, like you said, Jeff can move in, at least tie him.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, and it's a big change when you're like, oh, okay, he's 5 power. I can play 5 extra power in this lane and I'll win. And
Hmm.
now you have 3 power. Oh, I need. It's a lot less. I don't know, but Mm, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know how much. I guess it will change a lot. We'll see, because there'll be a lot more Doctor Doom, I think, so that'll impact it more.
Hmm.
Just by the sheer fact that he's nerfed, people are going to play him less. But I feel like if I play him in the Shuri Sauron deck, like he's just going to be fine.
Yeah, in that deck, I don't think it affects him at all because I played him in that deck too, and yeah, you don't need the power in that deck. You actually need to kill
Yeah,
their cards that they play. So
yeah. So
yeah,
like I
otherwise you're
think
not
it
even
just
playing
won't
Alioth.
change.
You play something else instead.
Yeah, I think honestly, like I think there'll be a lot of decks where just won't this power just doesn't matter. Like there's a lot of times when I play him, I'm just like I don't even care. Could have been 6-0. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. The
Yeah,
power did not matter.
I do think power matters on this card though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm saying there's a lot of instances
yeah.
when you play him that it doesn't.
Mhm.
But obviously, there's a lot that it is. That it does too.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was saying, and when we first started, we're talking about how mad we are with this card. Like the turns 1 to 5, like it's just easier now.
Yeah,
You're gonna be, long as you're within 3 power, like, or
yeah,
you're winning by 3 on 2 lanes, like you're feeling pretty good at that point. So it's way easier to be winning by 3 on two
yeah,
lanes than to be
yeah,
winning by 5 on 2 lanes, right?
yeah,
So, and they play their Alioth on like an Angela or Elsa or something, like, that gets buffed up even more. So, which
yeah,
happens a lot. So, yeah, I think it's a big deal. I think it's, you know, all these changes. I wish they would have, when they first nerfed Doctor Doom, I would have liked them to just move him to 4 and see what happens. This is another one where I think they should have went 1. Um, you
yeah,
know, when they went up with Enchantress, they went up by 2. Like, you didn't need to do that. You could just went up by 1. Like, I think they could have went down to 6-4. But like you said, if there's this crazy Twitter outrage on this card, like even Galactus, I don't think he needed to go to 5. Like, it was just try it 1. Isn't that the whole point of the OTAs, right?
yeah, yeah.
Tuning these cards, but whatever. It is what it is. Twitter, you did it, and I'm not mad about it. By the way, I'm not mad about it. Yeah, I think
What
it's
do you
fine.
think about? What do you think? Yeah, I think it's fine too. What
Mhm.
do you think about Cerebro 3?
I was just thinking that as you were
Which is like
saying
the
it. Yeah,
best which is like the best Cerebro deck right now.
yeah,
Some of the people top ladder are just playing Cerebro 3, like, top 10 ladder.
yeah.
The one number 1 players are
The main
playing Cerebro
reason,
3. Does he slot in? Because then he
yeah,
becomes a 7
he
with
100%
Mystique.
slots in. The main reason I was playing Cerebro 5, I got an Infinity border with Cerebro 5, is because Alioth was a 6/5.
Yeah,
That's it. I wouldn't even be playing the deck if he wasn't in it. So yeah, it's like having him as a 6/7 is ridiculous. Yeah, and hey, if you don't get your Mystique, he's an old Alioth. He's 6/5. It's fine.
like, do you think he slots in good? Like, is he a good, like, I don't play Cerebro, so I
Yeah,
don't know if he would be a good. I've played Cerebro, like, 20 times ever, maybe.
yeah,
Like,
he
more, but,
100% slots in very good. Think of it this
yeah,
way: Cerebro's like, it's like a go wide deck, right? You can get a bunch of power out into 3 lanes,
yeah,
but there's no, like, a lot of people. That's why a lot of people play like Iron Man or something like that in it, right? But then the same things that counter Iron Man counter Cerebro and Mystique. So Iron Man can get a little bit tricky, and you have to play Iron Man out on 5, so it leaves him vulnerable to all kinds of counterplay, or not even counterplay. They'll just be like, okay, I'm playing the other 2 lanes because obviously I lose Iron Man, right?
yeah,
So Iron Man has his issues in Cerebro deck because turn 6 you want to be playing Cerebro Mystique. Just typically, that costs 6 power. You want to play Cerebro Mystique. So
yeah,
now, like having Alioth, and Alioth would be probably a turn 7 play for the most part, and you're playing Magic or something like that.
yeah,
Um, in Cerebro 3. So for me, I thought of that as you were first reading it. I'm like, ooh, Cerebro 3. We're pulling out Magic, Crystal. I'm
yeah,
drawing all the cards, so that way I always get all my cards. And yeah, we're gonna be ripping this stuff apart because yeah, it just lets you go tall in one lane, which you just typically can't do in a Cerebro or any kind of like,
Yeah.
absorbing man brood, like kind of go wide type of deck.
Yeah. Well, you could also like if I'm thinking about it, you could also just play like even if you don't get your magical, you could just play Cerebro on 5 or whatever. It doesn't have to be Cerebro and Mystique, and then
Yeah.
like you can
Yep.
just Alioth the Cerebro lane because then that counters the Enchantress or any other counterplay, right? Or
True.
Rogue or whatever. Like it
If
just
we got
destroys their
If we got
counter.
Prio, yeah, which you probably do have Prio if you play Cerebro on 5. That'll probably just give
Yeah.
you Prio, right? So
Yeah, you usually should, I would imagine.
yeah, yeah, you don't have to play Cerebro and Mystique. That's where the skill of the deck starts to come in. It's the lines get a little bit tricky,
Yeah.
but that's part of the fun. I mean, yeah, I love playing Cerebro decks, and I will 100% be experimenting with it this week. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
right now.
So so
Yeah.
he'll get toned. I think he'll definitely will get his player will drop off a
Mhm,
bunch, but I think I don't think he'll be a bad card by any means. I still think he'll be good.
mhm,
And in some instances, like the Shuri deck, I'm gonna play it, and we'll see if it
mhm,
changes anything.
mhm.
I have a feeling it won't
Yeah, you gotta
in
think like
that
yeah.
deck specifically.
Like Mobius is a 3, like Shadow King's a 3. Like
Yeah,
these are like good cards, and they're 3.
yeah. Are you talking about Cerebro still?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. That's why I said it. Like so I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, Cerebro 3 is like wild.
Yeah,
It's the
the
best
cards are
Cerebro, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Ravona, too. Get out your Mystique early on 5.
Oh, yeah,
Cerebro
true.
Mystique
I
on
didn't think of
5.
Ramon.
Yeah. Shuri. So they nerfed Shuri a little bit. She's a 4-2 and now she's a 4-1.
Mhm.
Sure. This is what I have to say about this. Thank you. If I play Shuri Sauron, this will not affect my life, I don't think. But at least they took a little bit off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a good change. I thought,
Me too. I'm
this
not
is
mad
what
about it.
they should instead when they originally reworked Shuri and they did it so
Yeah.
it has to be in that lane.
Yeah.
We talked about it. I was hoping they would either move her to like a 4-0 or a 4
Mhm.
-2 or just something like just take a ton of power off the actual Shuri. And
Yeah.
then it's like because then if you play, say you play a -2 Shuri and then you play like, I don't know, like Vision or something, it's actually not
Yeah.
that much power because you spent 9 energy to get out 14 power. Like that's
Yeah.
not a lot, right? So
Yeah.
all of a sudden you start to think about it a little bit, right? So I mean I don't think this change is gonna really affect too much, but I like the idea of taking power off of Shuri. I wish they would have did it
Yes.
instead of the old change that they did where you have to play it all in one lane. It kind of makes the card a little more boring the way it is now.
Yeah.
But obviously it was completely broken and it was the best card in the game before, so you got to do something, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they did it before, like then you could still set up Cosmo in one lane, Armor in another lane, and then you just can't be countered, and you go taller than everyone.
Yeah.
So they kind of had to do what they did, and
Yeah,
this,
but
yeah,
if
it's
you
good.
nuked her power though, like maybe you lose one of those lanes. Maybe
Yeah,
you lose the Shuri
that's
lane
true.
if she's a negative
Yeah,
two, for example.
I'm glad, but you didn't care about the Shuri lane because then you have a Cosmo lane and an Armor lane,
Yeah.
right? But I'm glad they didn't touch Red Skull again. This poor guy got
Oh
touched
yeah,
like
yeah.
4 times already.
Just leave Red Skull alone. Leave Red Skull
Yeah,
alone, and leave Spider Ham alone too.
yeah. I haven't seen that card in weeks.
He pops up here and there. I've seen it
Yeah,
a little bit. It's I think it's like maybe not bad, but yeah, I don't play
yeah.
it personally.
It's all right. All right, I like this change. I like it. They
Yeah,
needed to do something. This is clearly the best deck in the game. So I'm glad they're taking it a little bit and just
yeah.
not going crazy.
Hmm.
Widow's Bite. This is probably one of the most interesting changes they did. I kind of like it. They actually changed like the Widow's Bite. It was a 0-0. Now it's a 0-1. So you kind of force your opponent to play a card that's a -1. That's kind of cool. I
This
like
is
it.
a
It's better than like making Black Widow a 2-2 or something like that. This is more interesting, I think.
Yeah, and I think I thought that's what they would do eventually to Black Widows, make her 2-2, but this is a kind of a massive buff, honestly,
I think
to
it's
Black
sick. Yeah.
Widow. Like
Yeah.
she was already a decent card, but she has to be in a certain kind of deck. And these like Dark Hawk type of decks are just not in vogue at the moment. So
Yeah.
I still don't know if she'll see any play like this, but once we start getting the junk
Oh
meta
boy.
starts to
Yeah.
develop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this -1's gonna start mattering a lot.
And especially if even now, like without the junk stuff, if
Mhm,
you put her in decks where like you can bounce her,
mhm.
you know, you're getting a couple Widow's bites. There's, sometimes you do that before, but like you put her in a bounce with a beast, and that's like a couple -1s taking up your board sucks.
Kid, you're getting me kinda excited to play Marvel Snap. Like, now I don't know, am I do we make a bounce deck or do we make a Cerebro 3 deck? Because you're right, bounce
Both.
with Forge and Black Widows, like,
Yeah.
sounds really fun.
Yeah. Black
Yeah.
Widow's sick.
Yeah, maybe get Korg in there, get to bring dust off the old Darkhawk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I played a Zabu Darkhawk. I made a Zabu Darkhawk
Mhm.
list
Did
this
you
week
put
too.
Man-Thing
It
in
was
it?
pretty fun. No, I didn't.
Oh, I was thinking that could like, a Man-Thing could actually be pretty good, I
I
think.
think it would not this week though. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
much loot cake. You're too
Mhm.
close, man.
Yeah, true.
Um, but yeah, no, yeah. I think this will be. Yeah, man. I just know that like it'd be so annoying getting two Widow's bites that are zero -1 in my hand. I'm like, oh man, what the hell? Especially in this meta where everyone's trying to fill lanes with Elsa.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah, I
like
like
more
it.
stuff that you have to play.
I think Black Widow's is a super interesting card. And out of the Darkhawk package, like between Korg, Rockslide, and her, she seemed to be the first one to get cut. So now you gotta like maybe think about it. Maybe you cut the Rockslide now.
Oh no, that's 4 power in the Darkhawk, bro. You can't do that.
If you're playing, if I'm making a bounce deck, which I think I want
Oh,
to now.
bounce. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I got
true.
Korg, Black Widow. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Rockslide's pretty good in that deck too, right? You bounce them, play them again for two. Like,
Yeah,
that's not the worst. But, you get
yeah.
four rocks in there.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just can't wait for my Annihilus Galactus junk deck. That's gonna
Oh
be
my
great.
god, it's gonna be
And you know
insane.
what? This is gonna be dirty, and this is definitely gonna be in it. You
Oh
know what
yeah.
card I'm gonna put in that list?
Mhm. What card?
Ghost.
Ghost?
Yeah, you wanna know why? To ensure that my Annihilus goes off second every time. Because if
Oh, send theirs back. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because if they Annihilus too, then like you're screwed.
Ghost is it might cuck your Galactus though, right? Oh, but I guess it doesn't matter if
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 their
their lane's
lane's
clogged. It
full,
doesn't matter, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you can
yeah.
reveal last. It
Only
doesn't
arrow,
matter.
only arrow will cuck.
Yeah, nobody plays arrow right now. You're chilling.
That's why you gotta play. That's why you gotta play Wasp in the deck too.
Mhm.
It's an arrow deck. All right. Anyways, Widow's. But anyway, I love this change. I love this change.
Yeah,
I
it's a huge
like
buff.
Black
There's a
Widow.
huge
Yeah,
buff that would
and I
the
like
Black
Black
Widow.
Widow as a card too. Like Black Widow's a cool card.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she got some love.
Mhm.
This one, we'll see. This one, White Tiger. The Tiger Spirit was a 5/7. Now it's a 5/8. Cool change. The card sucked before, basically.
Yeah,
Now it's a little bit
I'm happy
better.
you said that. I don't know why people are afraid to say that. I know there's people that used to love this card. It was a bad card. Like, this is a pool
It's
1, pool 2
horrible.
card. You get out of pool 2, you stop playing it. Like, let's be honest. It's
Yeah.
cute. You could buff the things with Patriot. Like, it's cute. You go crazy with Wong. You get tigers everywhere. It's fun. Like, it's fun. The artwork's kind of funny. Like, it was a bad
Yeah.
card, so I'm
It was
happy
good for
they
like
buffed it.
yeah, it's good in like meme on reveal decks and meme Mr. Negative decks.
Yeah. Mhm.
Decks that like aren't good in general, but like once in a while pop off. You have a 1/5 white tiger with under Wong, and you're getting just you're going wild. Wong's
Mhm.
a 2/4 Mr. Negative. You're just like you play them all.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll. I don't think I'll still play this card.
No, no, of course not. Yeah, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean they make a good point here. Like if people start playing Mr. Negative, like I think they should change Mobius so that Mr. Negative it doesn't cuck Mr. Negative completely. I think that's kind of wild because that
Yeah,
just completely cucks Mr. Negative.
yeah, true.
Um,
Mhm,
but and then with Ravona too, if like Ravona lists start getting better,
mhm.
then this would be a 4/1 that gives you a 5/8. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, these decks are gonna have to find a way to, um, counter the Mobius play. Like,
Yeah,
they gotta get him out of there, whether it's Rogue or Anch or, whatever, Mr. Negative already plays Zabu, so maybe you do just throw an Ench in there, like, I don't know. Um
yeah,
But yeah, the decks it's not very good right now. I mean, there's so many good decks, and the decks that right now are so consistent that the changes like this are awesome though. Like the Black Widow in this one, like this is great. Just buff the bad cards. Nerf the good
yeah.
cards. I mean, Hey, let's give props, kid. Let's give props.
It is, yeah. This is a great OTA. Like finally, like they're back.
Phenomenal
They're
OTA
back.
change. Yeah.
They're back. They're back.
If every
Yeah.
OTA was like this, I mean, shit, man, this game's gonna be sick every week.
It is, and they not honestly, like, yeah, we gotta give them props. They do a good job. I mean,
Yeah.
the last couple weeks were misses, and people
Mhm.
were pissed about Loki. Loki was OP as hell. Like,
Mhm.
that's gonna happen once in a while. It's fine. I mean, no one's. I don't see anyone complaining about Loki right now. You
Mhm.
know,
True.
he's the same.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Still very
Mobius got it.
good.
They did not change him. He's still
Yeah.
a 3-5.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Mobius just being everywhere helps,
Yeah. 100%.
and just you get new cards and there's new stuff to get mad about and
Mhm.
whatever. But slowly they're changing these cards, and I like it. They're doing a good job.
Mhm.
Overall, they're doing a good job.
For sure.
I love it. I love it. All right, let's talk about the little bads. Little bads. Actually, no. Let's not do that yet. Let's talk about the spotlight caches for the next couple weeks.
Mhm.
Like this one. So this week, I mean, they're still gonna have a couple days left. Boys and girls out in the world, on Snap.fan here. Man Thing,
Mhm.
Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike. So I'm assuming, didn't roll this week.
No,
I didn't.
no.
Yeah,
I think it's well, I have Silver Samurai. That's the only
yeah,
caveat, right? So I think I bought them for 6K even. Like I I hard committed. So I love this card, man. I love this card. So I
yeah.
actually don't regret buying them. I've had a lot of fun with that card. If you don't have Silver Samurai, I guess you think about it a bit. But all three of these cards, I would say this is a no roll. Just
Me
buy
too.
Man Thing if you really want them, for 3K.
Yeah, and you could even, like, he's gonna be 3,000 tokens, so you don't even have to buy him right away.
Yeah.
And if you really want him, like, you can even wait till December. He's gonna be in a spotlight cache as well, like with Firestar, like you said. So,
Yeah, and it's gonna
um,
be popping up randomly in your shop,
can wait.
constantly. If you don't buy them, like it's not like he goes away. Like I could buy them in 2 weeks if I really want them. So my plan right now is just save for the Firestar bundle, and roll deep on there.
Yeah, and I don't really think it's worth rolling for Man Thing, Silver Samurai, or Lady Deathstrike. I don't think it's worth rolling for either of them. So I would
Yeah.
say hold off. I really want Lady Deathstrike. She seems like a fun card.
Oh,
Like,
so do I, man. Trust me. I want
I'm
to.
not gonna pay 6K for her. I'm mad that she was not 3K still.
Kid, we need to say a prayer for our random spotlight openings. I've gotten a bullshit variant for my last two, but I did get Galactus in one of them. So, it
That's
it
good.
can it can happen.
That's true. The
Yeah,
last the
he's
last
got nerfed
two
to
that
the
I
ground.
actually rolled, I haven't rolled in a while, man. It feels like a hot minute. The last two that I rolled, I did what's it called? It took me two both
I
times.
had to do all four on my last two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
All four on your last two? Shit.
It's all right.
At least you got the G man. Well,
That's the
they
way.
nuked him,
That's
so
the
that
way she
sucks.
goes. Yeah, but I got
Yeah.
exactly. I did get Galactus in one of them. So yeah.
So let's talk about next week then.
Mhm.
If people want to plan ahead, we'll just talk about just 1 week ahead. Black Knight comes out on Tuesday, which is a 1/2, which adds, after you discard a card, add the Ebony Blade to your hand with that card's power, which is a 4 drop. And then there's Stature and Modoc. What do you think about this one?
I mean, I think it's a clear pass.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing with Modoc is that you probably got him if you wanted him at this point. He's a Series 4. You could have bought the 3K at any time, right? He's a season pass card. You could have bought that. If you really love like the
Is he a
Modoc
Series
gift
4?
card,
He is a Series 4. You're right.
yeah, I have the Series 4 list because we're going to be
Yeah,
doing
you're right.
little
You're
bands.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Modoc's very accessible card at this point. Um, he's a good card. Don't get me wrong, but he does one thing. If you don't want to do that thing, you probably haven't bought him. You probably would have bought him by now if you really wanted to do the one thing that he does. So,
Yeah.
I think this is a pass. I don't know about this Black Knight. I have a feeling they're gonna move it to a 3 cost on Black Knight. I think he's gonna get a buff at some point. That's my prediction.
Yeah, this is one personally, I won't be rolling on this at all. I won't be spending tokens or anything. I mean, I have Stature and Modoc.
Hmm.
So Stature, I'd say if Mobius didn't exist, this might be worth considering
Hmm.
rolling because Stature's used to be a good card, but completely cucked by Mobius. Like, you're not going to spend 5-6.
Yeah.
She's a 1/6. It's nice.
R.I.P. Miles
Um,
Morales and Stature. Yeah.
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 Modoc's sick, but like you said, it's a series 4. If you love discard, you probably already have this card.
Mhm.
And is it worth rolling this spotlight cash this week just to get Modoc?
Mm.
No. Save 3,000 tokens
Yeah.
if you love
Yeah, go buy
discard.
them for 3K, yeah.
Black Knight, I don't know if it's gonna be good. I don't know. It just doesn't. It seems like it won't be consistent. Personally, I don't think it's gonna be as consistent as you want it to be, and maybe it just slots in, but I don't think it will for
Look, I mean,
discard.
look, we're filthy casuals. I've been
Yeah,
wrong. My
of
filthy
course.
casual first impression is that it's a bad card.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do? Maybe we'll be wrong. There'll be some crazy combo that we didn't
Yeah,
see. You know, there's no point in wasting brain power to try to theory craft crazy combos for a card that I think is going to be bad anyway. And I'm not looking to. We have to look for reasons to not get cards, because some cards that you read the text, you're like, God damn, like we're gonna have to get this. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and none of these cards are that. So yeah,
These are not that. Yeah,
yeah.
and then exactly. And at the very least, like you could just wait a week and see what other people are doing.
Yeah, I think if
You
they
don't have to
buff
get it right away.
the Ebony Blade to 3 power, then maybe you're cooking something. But at 4, like God, like you have to hit Infinite, or it's basically like doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
That's my first impression of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how consistent the Ghost Rider or whatever combo will be. Not that consistent.
Yeah, and I mean, what if you just do that without the Black Knight?
Yeah. That's true. And you have to draw it early, right? Like you have to draw it early. You have to
Yeah.
play it early, and then you have to get something good. Then you
Mhm.
have to play 4 mana or 4 energy, whatever, to get the thing that you got from the
Yeah.
Black Knight you discarded. So yeah, I'd wait on this one or
It's a
not
lot of
roll at
work
all.
to put, probably on average a little bit of power on the board.
Yep, I hear you.
I don't think that wins games in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, play Darkhawk.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to our tier list, the small bad tier list.
Yeah.
You have again, we're gonna have only 4 categories: S tier, A tier, B tier, and F tier. Cards that
Mhm.
are crap are F. Cards that we recommend not getting, not excited about, we think are bad are F. B is like, if you got it in like a spotlight cash, then you're like not mad about it, but it's not something you were going for.
Mhm.
A tier is gonna be like, oh, okay, this is a good card. You're happy about getting it,
Mhm.
and even like at times you're like, I want to actively roll or buy for this card.
Mhm.
S tier is just like you should have this card.
No brainer, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So no big deal. Take it away. What's the first card? And you
Alright,
talk
well,
about it, and I got to find it down here. And this list I don't think is updated down
okay.
here. So just don't look at the power. Like Black Cat's a 3/7 here, so Black Bolt's a
Yeah.
5/8. So don't look at the power, just the card itself.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one is, Dark Hawk,
All right.
classic card. And it also is worth, noting, like, we don't do our ranks before these lists like we did the tier list last time. We just talk about it and figure it out kinda on the spot. So that is,
Oh yeah, we haven't at
yeah.
all. Yeah,
We don't prepare. We didn't come like, oh, I had him here, you had him here. No, we're just like on the fly ranking these cards, because that's the way
yeah,
that filthy casuals do it. You're in the, I don't say that, it's like barber shop chat. Like what NBA team's gonna like win the title or whatever.
yeah.
Like it's the same thing. So we're just talking shit here. So Darkhawk,
Exactly.
I would say A tier. Personally, I still think he's good. Obviously, there's a lot of counters to him right now. The main one being Mobius, and Zabu is a natural fit with Darkhawk. Mobius just kind of shuts all that down. But Rock Slide just went to 3, so you're not reducing the Rock Slide. So there's kind of some interesting builds that I think people maybe haven't explored, or maybe just the top meta decks are a little bit stronger than him. But when that happens, I mean, Alioth already got nerfed. Forge just got nerfed. Like Kitty Pride just got nerfed. Like they're, the top meta decks. Shuri just got nerfed. They're gonna get picked off, and they get picked off weekly. So I think Darkhawk's a card you want in your collection, just because the effect is so powerful and always has been.
Yeah, I think Darkhawk is either the top of the A or lower S.
Hmm.
I'm happy to keep him in the A tier for now, just like exactly
Yeah.
what you said.
Mhm.
He's like he's like old reliable,
Mhm.
like he's always just good to have. He's always good. He's like almost always good to have in a deck.
Yeah.
Um, Not many people are playing Shang-Chi, which is one of his main counters before. The
Hmm.
only thing that really hurts him, like you said, is Mobius, because you always wanted to play him, as a 3 drop on turn 6.
Yeah.
When you have Zabu down, you play like him Rock Slide on turn 6, or just him Mystique, him something on turn 6,
Yeah.
just so he never got.
Him Shang-Chi was another big one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, him and another 4 drop that's reduced.
Mhm.
So that's kind of gone now with Mobius everywhere. So it's harder to fit him in. But yeah, I played a few games with a Darkhawk Zabu list, and I was doing well. I was winning more than I was losing,
Mhm.
uh, quite handily.
Mhm.
So he still felt really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No.
I induced a couple rage quits on ladder just by putting him down in a lane, and he was like
Not Darkhawk.
412, and they're like, and they left. Yeah.
He's back.
So, yeah, I think is a card that, yeah, like you said, he's a series 4, right? Small bad, 3K
Yeah.
tokens. He's a card that's good to have in your collection that you
I'm
should
definitely
use.
open to S tier as well. Yeah, I guess it just depends on what else we got on the list, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess like you said, when they pick off the top decks every week, so like
Mhm.
he's always going to be in like a good, the quote unquote good cards list.
Right.
So that's always going to be a thing, and he's always going to be in there, I think.
Yeah, he's gonna be. If the meta decks are up here, he's creeping. He's right there.
Exactly.
He's just waiting. He's like, guys, I'm like
Yeah.
I'm a 412. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Exactly.
you can now beat 412. That's fine, but like once you get nerfed, you won't be able to consistently. And then I'm Darkhawk, and I just beat you. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And just got
Okay,
a,
next.
a slight buff with the Black Widow buff too.
Oh yeah, actually, I think that's a pretty big deal. Actually, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So next up, yeah, definitely gonna try him in bounce for sure. But anyway, yeah, next up is Null, the Spotlight Cash King. I want to
Yeah.
say, King of the Spotlight, King of the Cash,
Yeah.
Big Null. I think he's A tier. Maybe that's coping. I play this card a lot. Um, he's only good in destroy. So
Yep.
I'm open to B tier rating for him because he's a very niche. Like Darkhawk is just a good card. You fit him in. He's just a good card. You're playing Rocks and Hawks, Azabu, all kinds of different lists. Yeah, bounce. Like you play him. He's been one of the best bounce decks early on when bounce first started coming to prominence. Null, it has to be destroyed, and he doesn't even go in all destroy decks. But for me, I'm always turning to Null. I try Arnim Zola, and it just feels cheesy, and it doesn't work, and something goes wrong, and there's some junk comes over and screws up my Zola or Arrow or some just BS, and some Cosmo, something always goes wrong with the Zola. With Null, I feel like I'm slamming him down. He's 42 power and he's just chilling. So and
Yeah.
I think Null's A, but I'm open to B tier because it's a very niche card for one deck only.
Yeah. I'm like the opposite. I think he's an A for sure, an A. And
Mm.
then if you're a destroy player, he's an S tier card.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
He's really good in destroy. I
Mhm.
think I think for sure he's an A tier card. Now, if you hate destroy, then he's an F tier card for you
Yeah.
because he will not go in any of their deck.
Yeah.
So if you don't like playing destroy, he's F. Let's be very clear.
Hmm.
If you at all play destroy at all and you have fun playing destroy, he's an S tier card or an A tier card, high A tier card for you.
Hmm.
Especially now with X23 that came out, because you
Hmm.
can get him out early on 5. And if you Alioth on 6, that pumps up the null too. The
Hmm.
cards that get destroyed pumps up his power.
Yeah.
So a couple little combos there. You don't
Mhm.
like the Arnim Zola combo, but it does happen, a lot. You can play like if you
Ar-
X23,
yeah.
destroy X23 on 4, you play null on 5, you can Zola him. You don't
Yeah.
have to. You can Zola other stuff too, but
Arnhem Nola.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
You can Zola your Venom or whatever too, and just destroy 2 lanes, whatever. You could just
Yeah.
do. He's fine. He's good because you can get him out early with X23. He's just a great card. He's a great card. But yeah, like you
Unreal.
said,
Unreal.
only
Unreal.
niche.
Card.
You are not going to play him in any other decks except destroy.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, yeah,
Just
that's what I
simple
mean.
as
Even
that.
in Destroy, like if you want to play maybe like a Shuri Nimrod, like a pure Shuri Nimrod, he's probably not
Yeah.
going in that too, right? So
Yeah, not always,
yeah,
not always, yeah.
yeah.
And then,
But
yeah, and you used to play him in Galactus, but Galactus got completely nuked off the face of this earth,
mhm.
so that's not even worth mentioning.
I like him better now after they nerfed Galactus. I'm gonna be honest. I
He's
actually
great.
feel good playing him now. So
He's cool, yeah.
okay, next up is Legion. This card just got nerfed. He's a 5/7. I personally think he's S tier still.
Yeah,
This card's really good. He wins games on his own, and it's not in the way that the last two cards win games on their own. Like Darkhawk and Null will win a lane on their own, but Legion just outright wins you the game a lot of the time, way more than you would think. There's so many locations. Like sometimes it's just as simple as, God, there's one bad location. Let me just play Legion somewhere else to let me win the game. Like it's just like
Hmm.
that simple. Let me just play it on some inconsequential, like add a random card to your hand. You add random cards to your hand, but now I can access the bad location, and my opponent was just not playing for that whatsoever. And I've planned out my whole game to be able to do that. So there's so many big brain and small brain, just shutting off limbo. I mean, that's just small brain, but like it works, like why not,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's an S tier. I like that they nerfed him to 7, but I still think he's a phenomenal card.
I think he's criminally underutilized
Hmm.
because he's like not the flavor of the week anymore.
Hmm.
And I'm guilty of that too. Like I took him out of decks and stuff, and then like I think last week I put him in some decks, and I'm like, man, he's just winning me games, man.
Yeah,
He
I've
was
been
just
playing him. I've
straight
been
up
playing him this week. He's
winning.
been crushing. Yeah.
He just wins games. Like he's ridiculous. If you don't have this card, you need him. Get him.
Mhm.
He's one of the best cards in the game still. Period. He just
Mhm.
like you said, like even it's not even about turning all the locations into the location that you want. If someone has Luke Cage and you don't have Luke Cage and there's a negative zone,
Mhm.
then they're playing weakly in the negative zone just thinking they're going to win the game.
Mhm.
You Legion one of the other locations, suddenly it doesn't turn into the negative zone and then
Mhm.
you win.
Mhm.
Because they're planning for you not having a lot of power in there with their Luke Cage.
Yeah, and they might even snap, right? Like,
Yeah,
and he has even more surprise now ever since he got nerfed, because he used to be in every single deck. All that happened was they changed one power, but it's not like Legion was winning you games because of his power. He's winning games because he changes all 3 locations, and the
yeah,
locations just decide games so much in Marvel Snap. So,
yeah. There's still like the flooding. There's still like the vault. You see the
oh,
vault early. You know you have Legion in your hand. You're like, oh boy, you can plan for that.
yeah,
You can say, I'm just gonna put a ton of power on the board, and not care, and then I'm Legioning the vault, and that's it.
yeah.
And then they can't play turn 6. GG, no re.
And most Legion decks are going to be playing for priority too. Like he kind of naturally fits, like a little movers deck, for example, like something like this. Or they are kind of low rolly. So yeah, when you do get those opportunities, you probably have a bunch of power on the board already. So yeah, unreal card. Next up, we have, oh god, I don't even know where to rate this guy. The molded and folded master mold. He's a 2/2. Add 2 sentinels to your opponent's hand. I bought this card pretty early on. I'm thinking F tier for this one.
God,
the
I
kid,
can't find him. I'm failing right now.
the kid. Oh, if you could find Sentinel, But anyway, same thing. But
Yeah, like he doesn't even matter.
yeah, I think that's weird. Maybe it scrolls to the right a
There he
bit,
is.
but
I got him. I got him.
yeah, I would put him in F tier. I guess if I can do more comprehensive reasonings, I don't think Ronin's good. I think Ronin should be a 5 power card straight up. That's a card I would like to see jacked up, like just base power. He's just worse than Dino, but he's the same power. It doesn't make any sense. And Dino's not even like the best card in the game. It's just Dino's just a pretty good card. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, I
he's
think
bad. He's
what?
bad. He's F tier. He needs a rework. He's really bad,
Yeah,
especially with Loki too. You're giving them extra cards to just turn into like to screw you over even more. Ronin's
yeah.
not that good. He's bad. He needs a rework.
Yeah, and I don't even know
Um,
if it's rework. What if you change the add 2 sentinels to add 4 sentinels? Like,
that'd be pretty OP
yeah,
if they could
right.
ever
So
draw out.
that's what I'm saying. So maybe 3 is the right number, right? Like,
I don't know.
it starts to get interesting. But yeah, he definitely needs a buff for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
I've seen. I heard. I think I forget. Was it Cozy and Al? I don't know. Someone was saying that there was a rework that I really liked. I thought it was just such a cool idea that like
Mhm.
every time your opponent plays a sentinel, he gains like 1 power.
Oh yeah, or just +1 per sentinels on the board or something, right?
Like
Yeah,
every time a sentinel is played, like he gets a power or something.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Something
kind
like
of
that's
cool.
interesting. It's a different
Yeah,
card for sure.
yeah. Right now he's garbage.
Yeah.
Don't get him. Don't spend money on him. Don't roll for him. He's
Mhm.
garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, Master Mold. All right. So next up is Mirage. So Mirage a 2/2, copy the lowest card in your opponent's hand, give it +2 power. I guess if you play the card, it's effectively a 2/4. I would put it in A tier personally.
So would
Uh,
I. Low A tier.
yeah. I think it's just a really good card. I don't want to call it underrated. I think people do play it a good amount. I just think a lot of people don't have this
Yeah,
card. And it's understandable. It's not a card that's just like Alioth where you're just going to win the game by playing it. It's
yeah.
kind of just one of those cards that lets you build tempo, win up on lanes. But if you are trying to play good cards and put out a little bit more power than your opponent, like she's phenomenal. And yeah, I think she's a really good card.
Yeah, and it gives you good info too. Like,
Mhm,
you can't always discount like the amount of info that like
mhm.
a low power card gives you. It's still like you can take their Jeff, you can take now you probably take their Forge. Like Forge is a 1/3 with her. Like it's good. It's a good card.
Yeah, and say you're playing like a kitty pride deck, maybe you snipe their kitty, but if they have to play the Angela on two, so
Yeah.
you snipe their kitty, and then maybe you have two kitties to their one, and then you play Angela, and there's all kinds of stuff that can happen. That getting these low power cards. I mean, they're with +2 power, they become very OP, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah,
like it. I like her. I'd say she's low A for sure.
yeah. Okay, so next up, we've talked about him already. It's Modoc. Um, God, this is a tough one to rate because we put Null in in A tier. I would put Modoc in B tier right now, personally. Um, that's just where I would put him right now. I mean, on release, I would say borderline S tier, high A. Like this was one of the best cards in the game, or one of the best decks in the game, the Modoc deck. But it has a lot kind of working against it right now. There's a lot of tech that works really good against it. Um, so I do think it's still like a good card. If you want to play discard, like phenomenal card to have to play discard. Um, but yeah, I think he's a B tier just because of where his deck is currently at right now.
That's kind of exactly what I was gonna say. I
Mhm.
like as a card, he's like as a card himself, what he does for discard,
Yeah.
he's like an A or an S, you
Yes.
know? But because the discard archetype is kind of suffering right now, it's like you can't justify like we're talking about, tier lists, should people get these cards, or are you happy about having these cards? Like I'm happy I have Modoc, but I don't play him ever. You
Mhm.
love discard. It's your favorite archetype.
Yeah.
You don't play. You're not playing discard right now.
Yeah, I play some Hella sometimes, but yeah, I like Hella a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play, but also if you're gonna play like Hella Living Tribunal, you can play a Modoc, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like worth an A tier. Like it's not worth getting for that. I mean, if that's fun for you, great, get it.
Mhm.
But if you want to be remotely competitive, it's not. There's a lot better stuff you can be getting.
Yeah, I would compare it to a card like Vulture, right? Where it's like, okay, you move Vulture once, it's a 3/8. Like that's broken, right? It's a three
Yeah,
eight. Maximus 3/7 and draws your opponent two cards. What the hell? We got a 3/8. Dazzler's like a 3/8, like full lanes, right? But you have to play a move deck now.
yeah,
This is the issue. But you can't just play a move deck right now. So yeah, I don't think
yeah,
you can play Modoc discard right now. So I mean, you could,
yeah,
but you're gonna probably lose some games. So
yeah.
that's
Exactly.
kind of where I'm at with it.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So next is Negasonic Teenage Warhead. This card, when it was first announced, it seemed like an interesting concept. I never really got it. I'm happy I never bought it. I think it's a straight F tier behind Master Mold and one of the worst cards in the game.
Yeah, I think it's bad. I don't like it. F tier for sure. I
Yeah.
think this is one I randomly pulled before the spotlights. I just got it randomly in a cache, I think.
Yeah.
I have it, but I don't
Mhm.
even honestly, this is how bad the card is. I don't remember how I got it.
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a spotlight cache. It wasn't like I did not definitely did not buy this card. Like
Yeah.
I don't remember how I acquired this card.
Yeah. I think you pulled it. Yeah. I think I remember you just
Yeah,
screenshotting it.
like just pissed that I pulled it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a card that probably needs like a rework too or something. Like, I don't know. I know some people use it once in a while, but it's not. It's F. Don't buy it.
Yeah. This
Don't
card
spend
definitely,
3K on it.
this card needs a rework for sure. Like,
Yeah,
the way it's designed now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if they you could reduce cost. I guess you make it a two, makes it kind of interesting, right?
yeah. Reduce the power and the cost. Like a 2/2 or something would be wild.
Even a
Just
two
like a
zero,
Bob.
it's just a landmine, right? You
Yeah,
can't play here. I don't know.
yeah,
Like, I don't think the power really matters with this card. Like it's gonna die
yeah.
probably. So
Well,
yeah.
that the reasoning for not decreasing the cost last time when they buffed it from a 3/4 to a 3/5 was we think it would feel bad that if a 2 cost like took out your 5 or 6 cost cards.
Hmm.
So like, would that cause a lot of feels bad, Alliance moments where like You just play a 2-drop and a 4-drop. Negasonic Darkhawk on turn 6 and just blows up their 6 cost, their
Sounds
Doctor
kinda
Doom.
interesting, right? Doesn't that sound like an
I know.
interesting play line? Like, I don't know, to me. But yeah,
I think
maybe
it
more
is,
like
yeah.
Alioth. I like Alioth. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it is. But
Yeah.
I think right now as a 3/5 this card's bad. I don't wanna spend 3 mana or 3 energy for this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is Nimrod.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, so Nimrod 5/6 now, destroyed copies to both other locations. To me, I would put him in A tier. Um, I think that pre buff, a borderline F tier card, straight up.
Oh,
They
yeah.
Yeah, but they buffed him with the 1 power, and he does a lot of application. I thought maybe the Galactus nerf would be a big deal for this card, but I think he's popping up in multiple top decks. I mean, you gotta play Shuri with him, right? So Shuri just got a nerf, but again, the 4/1 doesn't. The Nimrod doesn't care that that your Shuri's a 4/1 at all. You either get
No.
your combo off or you don't.
Yep.
So yeah, that nerf is totally inconsequential to that deck as well as the Sauron one, like you were saying. So yeah, I do think it's a really good card. It's a good way to play destroy, and there are kind of other decks like you get this Phoenix Force kind of deck that you don't have to play all destroy to play Nimrod, kind of like Null, where Null's always destroy. There's a
Yeah.
few kind of niche. If you're playing like just a buff deck, you could play Nimrod. So you could at least consider Nimrod anyway.
Yeah, I like Nimrod in the A tier as well.
Hmm.
He's a card that's like, yeah, again, you have to like destroy though,
Yeah,
mostly, I think. Like he's
yeah,
mostly a destroy card.
for sure.
If you don't play destroy, don't buy this card
Hmm.
because you won't really, but he's definitely like really fun and can put a ton of power on the board. And
Hmm.
people don't know this. If you Arnim Zola him, he creates 4 copies of it,
Yeah.
not just 2, because you
Hmm.
destroy it, and then whenever you destroy Nimrod, it creates 2 copies,
Hmm.
and then Arnim Zola also adds 2 copies. So
Yeah.
it's that's a pretty wild play as well if you
Hmm.
end up buffing him. Um, yeah, he's a really really fun card. Like exactly like you said, as a 5/6, so much better.
Hmm.
A tier, I think, lower A tier, I would say,
For sure.
but I think A tier nonetheless. And yeah, as a
Hmm.
5/5, he was completely horrible, and I'm mad they didn't buff him
Hmm.
during his season. That was sad.
Okay, so next one for me, if it was the next one is Snow Guard, so you start looking for it. For me, this is tricky because if this was pre nerf, I would say easy S tier, maybe even had a 5/7 Legion. But now that it gives 2/3 drops, it's like how good do you think Loki is? This card is completely tied to the Loki deck, and oh god, yeah, the deck you were playing did run Snow Guard, so I mean,
Yep.
absolute staple in that deck. But I don't think you could play it in any other deck now.
Just
So
so sad.
yeah, and it was very techable in all kinds of other decks. People were just starting to experiment with it, even if they just maybe nerfed the Hawk but kept the Bear, so you could at least curve out on other decks. That would have been interesting, but yeah, maybe B tier right now.
I think high B tier,
Yeah.
like probably top of the B tier.
Mhm.
Maybe creeping in A tier if you really want the low end, but yeah, that nerf kind of sucked. Like fun fact, if you go on Marvel Snap or whatever, and in the inbox you can check your monthly stats.
Mhm.
This was my most played card
Oh,
for last
nice.
month. I put it in every deck.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so good pre nerf. It was
Yeah.
like the two hawk and the two bear. They were unbelievable, man. They were so good. So yeah, now like you said, this is just purely, I mean not purely, but for the most part, just a Loki card. It's
Mhm.
great in Loki. Sometimes you even play the Hawk and the Bear. The Bear feels like shit at 3. They need
Mhm.
to make that back to a 2. Like
Mhm.
the Hawk I understand, but like I don't know. It's still a cool card. It's way better than what it was before. You can
Mhm.
still play it and not feel horrible.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really good in Loki, but not amazing in other stuff. And there's better. I think there's better options in other decks. Definitely a B tier where like it's not horribly shit, but like if you get it, you're like okay, kind of cool. But like I wouldn't be actively gunning for it. Whereas like pre nerf, I'd be like, dude, get Snow Guard. This card's sick.
Yeah.
I'd say S tier. I think before the nerf.
It's tricky. I mean, this is a really hard one because there's definitely an argument to be made that we could actually put this even like ahead of Null, for example, right? Because Null and Nimrod are up here because of destroy decks. If
Mhm.
like you can make an argument that Loki's better than destroy decks,
Yeah,
destroy decks are really good too. So, but you could easily make the argument that Loki's better, and this is an essential piece of the Loki deck. Like you are very happy if you're playing Loki deck that you got Snow Guard over the other one drops simply because it gives you two cards instead of one. So,
that's true. For
um,
for me for
yeah,
me, the reason why I would have this in B and the
mhm.
other ones in A is because those other ones in A can win the game on their own.
True. Yeah, yeah,
Whereas Snow Guard is a little more ambiguous, like,
yeah.
you
You're
don't know if
totally
it's really
reliant
winning you the
on the
game, but it's
combo, and the 1/2 is actually a straight brick on the board. It's just taking up space, and you don't want it there. So, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with her there though for now.
yeah,
Next up is Spider Ham, the card that's been changed multiple times. Little bad Spider Ham. He's a 1/1 now. He only hits the leftmost card.
fun stuff for
I
me.
think he's B tier.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
I
Like, I
don't
think
think
he's
he's
low
a
B.
bad card, but yeah, he got absolutely nerfed into the ground with his change. But definitely has some use still. Has his place in deck, especially in conquest. You got to consider him in conquest for sure. Get the info. And some decks are just really combo heavy, so you can mess up some combo decks pretty bad. But it's tough to argue playing him these days over most other like premium one cost cards.
Yeah, he's like B and maybe even F.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
think just 'cause Mobius, like,
Mhm.
yeah, you can maybe screw up a combo, but then, like, if you have Mobius, that card's a 0
Mhm.
cost, but the pig is a 0 cost, so you play that card for free now
Yeah,
for
you
your
actually
next
help
turn.
them probably. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have Mobius and they don't, I guess. If they have Mobius, then it's the same, it's a 4, but
I
yeah,
am
I don't know.
I'm happy to put him in F. I just didn't want to be a hater because I've been hating on these changes, and so yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know, I'll put him bottom of B because I don't wanna put him down there with Negasonic, that feels too bad for the little
Yeah,
guy.
true. Yeah,
He is pretty bad though. Ah,
yeah.
fuck, maybe he's F, I don't know.
Well, this
I don't
next
look at him
one,
and I don't look at him and I'm like, "Oh, he's a completely piece of shit card." I don't do that. So I guess he's B. We'll put him bottom of B.
yeah, this next one is Spider-Man 2099. I think I would put this below Spider. I mean, it's a really cool effect in theory. I've never seen it work ever in any deck. I've tried it myself. I think I have this card. Yeah, I do have this card. I've tried playing with it. I can't make it work. I've never seen anybody make it work. Except there's a couple niche like move player specialists. I've made it work, but yeah, man, it's so unreliable for what it does. So and only happens once, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I like I'm happy to put him top of F because I don't think generally he's low B. I've made him work a few times in like a
Mhm,
move list, but like the move list isn't like it's not a top list, so it's like did he really contribute that much? No, but he's fun to play and I've had him go off and I've had him, I've had some actually really cool plays with him. And I enjoy playing with him.
mhm,
It's just the type of deck he has to be in is not good. It's not a good type of deck.
mhm,
So it's like even if he was great, that deck he's in is crap, and he can't just be placed in any deck. It has to be he has to move at some point. So
mhm.
like you have to have a move card. Um, I see like Ghost Spider being slotted in a lot of decks now. So I don't know if you can just like throw him in YOLO and just see what happens, but I don't know.
I think that's the issue is that it's
It's not
YOLO,
good.
and maybe that's the rework that it needs. Maybe if they change the text to destroy the enemy card with the highest cost, you know, then you get reliable snipes, right? Like you could snipe something good instead of just taking out their Nightcrawler or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a lot higher impact. Like if they had a little bit more targeted destroy here, but because it's so
Yeah.
YOLO, and especially now where we're in the Elsa meta where there's like 12 things on the board and they're all little shit things that don't care if they get killed. Like God,
Yeah.
this guy's just miserable right now.
I wonder if once per lane would be too broken for him. I don't know if it would. Because like you actually have to move him, right?
Yeah,
Like if you could destroy one thing per lane, I wonder if that is bad or not. Or too broken. I don't know.
I mean, I,
But I
I
think
like some craziness. I like some chaos, and I think I would like it if it was like just there was no once per turn. But like if you got to move him to a 4-0, then you got to move him to a 4-0. But if he's just bouncing all over the place, just killing everything, I think that's hilarious, and I would like if that was what the card was like.
that'd be cool. And I don't know how good I don't know how broken it would be. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't know.
It Because it is hard to move everywhere, and like then you got to play a move deck, and maybe does that make the move deck good? Maybe it does, and that'd be awesome.
I think the move deck deserves something like that anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should let him destroy more than one. Start with letting him destroy more than one thing. Like you can start with one per lane, see if that breaks him, and
Yeah,
go from there.
I agree. All right.
But yeah, I wouldn't buy him.
Next up, we got card that we talked about already, Stature. Um, Cost 1 if your opponent discarded from their hand this game. It's a 5/6. It's gets absolutely wrecked by Mobius right now. You put her in F? I would say I would put her in B personally. But yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
his
yeah,
card's
God, it's
shit
a
with
tough
Mobius. It's
time in the
garbage.
meta right now for her. Yeah.
Right now, if you talked to me before Mobius, this card's an A tier card, maybe even S.
Mhm.
With Mobius, it's garbage. 5/6. Everyone's playing Mobius. Like everyone's playing Mobius. You can't play stat. I mean, I'll put her low B if you want, but it's got to be the
No,
bottom
no.
of B.
I mean, you're making a good point. You're swaying me. I haven't played her at all.
I tried playing her. I tried playing her after
Yeah.
Mobius, and it's too hard.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
there's too much stuff you have to do. Like you have to discard one of their cards. Like you have to at least get that part going. So like you have
Mhm.
to play your Black Bolt. You have to play something. If you're playing Black Bolt, like or Silver Samurai, like
Mhm.
by the time you're playing those cards on turn 4 or turn 5, they
Mobius up.
have their Mobius,
Yeah.
and everyone has Mobius. Like
Mhm.
the time that they're not drawing that is like so few and far in between that it's like and then you have to play then you have to play your stature after that. And never mind getting your Silver Samurai down on turn 3 anymore with Zabu, because again,
Mhm.
there's Mobius. So it's like
Yeah. True.
the
Yeah.
the soonest you're playing her is turn 4, and they're usually having their Mobius by then.
You swayed me for sure. I'm happy with having her in F. My only reason I originally said B was because I'm looking at the other three cards in F, and to me those are just three bad cards. And at least
Yeah.
Stature to me is like, okay, she's still not a bad card in my head. She's just like, but yeah, she does get hard countered by Mobius, right? And I haven't
She's
seen her
bad
too
right
much.
now.
Yeah,
She's
she's
bad right
very bad
now.
right now. So yeah, tough
Maybe in
meta
a
spot, but
month.
hey, we're living in the now. We're living in the moment. So let's
Yeah,
get
like
her in
maybe in
F.
a month, all these new cards come out, and you don't need Mobius too much, and then Black Bull Stature comes back. That always finds a way of sneaking back.
All right, so next is, in my opinion, one of the biggest copium cards I've ever seen in my life. His name is Stegron. He's a 4/5. This card's bad. He's always been bad. This is an F tier card. I don't care. I'll die on that hill. Like there's so many people. I've seen YouTube videos. I've seen highlights. Oh, Stegron, it hit their key card. Like this card sucks, man. This is a 4/5. Like it's just too low power for some random. It's like 4 cost Polaris. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're hitting a random card. Like even Polaris is more targeted than he is, and he costs one more. I think this card is awful. Yeah, what do you think, kid?
I'm happy with F tier. Yeah, I don't really ever. I have him. I don't ever really play him. So
I think
yeah,
he needs a buff. The effect's interesting, but when they first released it, I was like, really? Like this? They're releasing this card, and then they kept it. They didn't buff. And he's still the same.
yeah. He doesn't make any of the like. Personally, I don't think he makes any of the decks that he's in. Better for having him in the deck. There's other cards that you can play in the deck that make the deck better. And once in a while, he's gonna get cool plays, but like, yeah, no, he's too inconsistent. Like if he made it that like he always hits the card to the leftmost lane or something like that, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, you have to compare it to other 4 drops. Like, I don't think Captain Marvel's like very good right now. Like she's 4 power. Like not a lot of people are playing Captain Marvel, but
I'd play her over him,
that's what I'm saying. Like just think
and
about
she's
slamming a
bad.
4/4 Captain Marvel on the board.
Yeah.
Forget Elsa. Even if you don't buffer with Elsa, you just play a 4/4 Captain Marvel. Like God, that's so much better than playing Stegron. Like it's so much better because you play
Yeah.
all 3 lanes. Like the lane you wanted to kick them to Stegron, like Captain Marvel will just go win you that lane, and she's not
Yeah.
that good of a card right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, this card is horrible. I think one of the
Listen,
worst cards in the
listen,
game.
listen. When Mojo World is the spotlight location,
Yeah,
Tegron will be S tier.
there you go. Boom. I like it.
But
Juggernaut Stegron. Yeah. All
yeah,
right.
there you go.
Last up is Zabu. We're talking about
Oh,
living in the moment. My first instinct was for sure A tier, but the way you've brought up this Mobius stuff, we might have to consider putting Zabu in B. Yeah.
I'm putting him in.
Um,
I'll put him high B.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? We got him next to Snowguard there, right? And like at least Loki's like a relevant deck right now, and Loki's a good
Yeah.
deck right now. There is no really good Zabu deck right now, because of the Mobius, because of wow, wow.
Wow.
So it's yeah, it's tough days for Zabu. He's kind of hard countered. He still has some uses for sure. I've seen him a little bit. Like you don't hate it if you play the Zabu. They play the Mobius. All right, you played a 2, I played a 2. Like whatever, I'm losing 1 power. It's like, but yeah, it's tough, man. Your whole deck, like the whole idea of your deck, gets kind of wrecked.
Yeah, I kind of feel weird with him because, like, I feel like, yeah, right now he's really not a good card. Like,
Mhm.
he's not. But I feel like he's a card that people should have.
Oh, 100%.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense? Like I don't like even though he's not good now, I feel like he's just a card that you should have because there's always gonna be a time when like he's gonna be good. There will be a time, you know.
All right, let's
Like
for that
like
reason, let's
Thatcher
bump him up ahead of Mirage, I think. Just on that
on
sentiment,
A tier.
Yeah, right there, I think. Just you got to get Zabu, but just don't be expecting to play him anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I put him back at low A tier.
Yeah.
Like I like he's not good right now, but like he's low A, he's high B, low A, I think
Do you
right
want to
now.
move
Yeah.
so that's it. Do you want to move Dark Hawk to S but behind Legion?
Do I think Darkhawk is better than Null, Mirage, Nimrod, and Zabu? If we're having Zabu and A, like Darkhawk can't be in the same tier as Zabu. There's just no way.
What do you mean?
Like Darkhawk is way better than Zabu, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I think Darkhawk could be an S.
Yeah, bump him up to S. I think this looks
He's
good.
not definitely not better than Legion, but he's just a sick card all the time. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zabu, it's kind of sad, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it's kind of really sad. We'll see. Yeah,
That's it, man.
Mobius is too much.
Little bads. We got it.
Little
You want to
bads.
run down the list, kid?
Yeah, so what we have in S tier, Legion, definitely the best little bad Series 4 card. By far, you should get this card. Darkhawk, same thing. Really good card. Should be a card that you should have in your collection. 3,000 tokens or in Spotlight. Always roll for him. He's good. A tier, Null, great if you love Destroy. Mirage, just a great kind of like everyday card. Can slot in any deck really. Nimrod, great for destroy. Zabu, not great right now, but kind of a card that like I guess we just kind of feel bad and it's like you should have Zabu in your collection. I think
Hmm.
it's always going to be good at some point. Um, B tier, and you'll never be mad to get Zabu.
Hmm.
B tier cards: Snowguard, Fall from Grace after that nerf. Modoc, because this card sucks. Modoc itself, good card. This card sucks. Spider Ham, not really great right now. And then F tier, garbage cards. Don't get them. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money right now.
Hmm.
Things can change in a couple weeks. Stature, Stegron, Spider-Man 2099, Master Mold, Negasonic. For the love of God, don't get Negasonic right now.
Yeah, I feel bad because a lot of these cards I do like. Like I like Modoc. I think Snowguard's good. And Loki. Yeah, Zabu. That's the thing with Zabu. You're right. It's good to have in your collection because sometimes you just want to like build a deck and it's like, okay, well Zabu would be perfect here. So
Yeah.
even if you're trying some new brews out, like you need Zabu as the tool. You need
Yeah, exactly.
Surfer and you need Zabu. You're building these 4 or these 3 decks. Like you need these cards in your collection.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I like this.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's it. The I will say, just as an aside, random talking here now. I just watched the first season of Loki. Mel and I watched.
Oh,
It was
nice.
pretty cool. He actually loves jet skis. He's talked about him in the season.
Oh, so that's why you got
Mobius.
the variant?
He had like a jet ski.
Mhm.
What's it called? Uh, he had a jet ski like magazine. He was like talking to Loki about it, how much like they're perfect, and
Huh.
the bundle's called Form and Function. He's like they're perfect form and function. Like it's hilarious.
Mhm.
So I was laughing, just like I was like that's kind of like a Marvel Snap reference. It's funny.
Yeah, it seemed random, but I guess they're just being true to the lore, and
Yeah.
we're it's random to us.
And how they say wow, fuck, that was great. I was
Yeah,
dying.
yeah.
Instead of 3 times value, just wow. The marketing team just on point.
Wow.
Yeah. What else you got to say to the people?
No, man. I hope everyone's having fun, and hey, Twitter people. Alioth got mega nerfed. It's good, right? So I want the people to be happy. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Uh, It's a good time.
I want people to have fun. That's what this game's about. You know?
I'm excited to dick around with some Bounce and Cerebro in the next one.
Cerebro 3 Alioth.
Yeah.
Next villain.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Do it. Peace.